are the new Gran Turismo 7 physics. We're going to have a look here in a race, the first race on the brand new track in these very tricky cars with a world champion. Yes, that is Coque Lopez next to me. And this was a very interesting race. I'm going to walk you through it in terms of what's going on in my head. So I hadn't really done any practice here. I'm trying to work out how to drive the car, but I noticed immediately that the suspension is very different. Now I come in here, I come in a little bit too hot, just a little bit, but as you can see, everyone's coming back on the apex, and I'm going to pick up a massive, to be honest, I don't even think I was that hot on that corner, but we're going to pick up a massive 5-second penalty, so fair cops. We did overtake Coque Lopez, but the thing I've noticed immediately during this race is that the cars in Gran Turismo are much more sensitive to weight load, to weight transfer, but also to how much load there is on the tyres. And obviously at this track, Eigen Nordwand, you really notice that because there's so much elevation change, and you can feel it in this car because you can feel the suspension, you can look at the suspension, as both Coque and myself, we just grazed the wall there. Must be the esports line. Some great racing, by the way, and I think the racing is going to be even more higher stakes with this new physics, because you're struggling, as you can see, to sort of get the power down. Yes, we are on comfort softs here. This is the combination that they're going to be using in the GT World Series. That's why Coque Lopez is practicing, I believe, because he wants to be the fastest Gran Turismo 7 driver in the world. By the way, I have interviewed him. There's an interview I'll link at the end where he gives his tips on how to drive in Gran Turismo 7. Great guy, Coque Lopez. In this race, we're going to have to take our 5-second penalty. But I'm so engrossed now. You see, as we get air over the jump, and then the car is going to compress, but then it's going to lighten again. It really depends when you're braking in that phase. If you're braking as the car's light, you're going to go a lot further into the corner. And I really don't think that was the case before in Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo 7 before, I'm talking like, for me, this is third generation physics, by the way. First generation physics, I made lots of videos on back in 2022. Very easy to get into oversteer moments. You have to be very gentle with the throttle. For a lot of drivers, it was just easier to drive in understeery cars or make your cars more understeery, because anytime you got oversteer, it wasn't very realistic the way you got back on traction. There wasn't a natural slip angle that was progressive. It was very abrupt going into the slide. Then we had GT7 Physics Mark II, which sort of brought it a bit more back to GT Sport, except there was more inherent dynamism. There's more dynamism with the weather. There's more dynamism with the tyre temperatures as well, which are not something that Gran Turismo 7 shows you, but I've modded the game and we saw huge differences in the tyre temps. You'll notice when you're doing time trial in Gran Turismo 7 that your first lap might feel sketchy. Don't worry, it's not you, it's the tyre temps. Again, I've done load of videos on that. Now we go to Mark III of the physics, and really sensitive to load on each wheel. So this is the incredible thing about feeling that load. So sometimes you can feel like you may be braking, this is a critical point. You can brake at the same point going into a corner, but depending on how the car's loaded will affect your braking distance, what happens when you start to trail brake, how much rotation you're going to get, and that makes it much more dynamic. So going back to that point I said about it's going to be really high stakes racing with people, because when you're going side by side, you're going to be sliding a lot. Now, the elephant in the room, Forza Motorsport does this. I've always said Forza Motorsport feels like a game where you're inherently less planted. It feels like the wheels are spinning up a lot more. And what that means is if you're driving a hypercar in Forza Motorsport, you're going to be sliding around a lot before you get the power down. In contrast, Gran Turismo 7 in Mark II physics was quite an understeery game. You felt like you were on rails. The esports element was simplified to how late can I brake? Am I slightly ahead? Can I, do a cut back? There wasn't a lot of complication. This now adds back in the complication because the physics mean that you have to set up your car correctly. Again, great example here is we get the air. Look at what it does to the suspension. You can see it bounces. We're going to take another penalty because I just got a track cut. And I'm trying my best here to keep up. This is a Monday evening, so I've just gone on the game. The first day of these dailies. Some of these drivers might have had some practice, but as you can see, I'm going to be getting up to speed. You're going to see a lap in this race where I think I actually really do start to hook it up together. And great combination looking at the suspension here. This one as well, you can see the car just sort of balancing as it undulates, and you want to really settle the car. So all of the tips, by the way, I've given in my Gran Turismo 7 beginner masterclass are more valid than ever. Definitely go check it out, www getfasteronline.com. It's going to really help you if you're struggling in these physics. It's all about the fundamentals of braking in a straight line, when to trail brake, how to go through to the corner, when to get back on the power post apex. Thought I was going to sneeze. You can see I'm starting to struggle compared to the group ahead, but I'm trying to not kind of overdrive it, because you see me in this complex especially, so much weight transfer in that sort of snaky part that if you get on the power when your outside wheel is not loaded, you're going to have crazy oversteer moments, very difficult to get on the power. And you can see here, you want to brake in a straight line here. If you don't brake in a straight line coming into this corner, you're going to hit that marshal. It's just clear as day. What we want to be doing there is we want to be braking in a straight line, late as possible, but with the car planted as well, with that slightly more complicated physics. So you can see me trying to chase after a potential P6 here, which would be a great result for me. I think this was the top split race of the day. And trying to work out, again here, amazing angle, side on. You can see just how bouncy the car is. And I spent a lot of time in this Honda, especially in virtual reality. Done a lot of lobbies in this thing. I've driven hundreds of laps around Spa in the wet weather, and could basically drive it with my eyes closed. But you see there again, snap on getting on the power there, and the comfort soft tyres definitely exaggerating with the feeling that Gran Turismo want us to feel in this car. But once you start to hook it up, once you start to brake when the car's planted, get on the power once the car's planted, and you feel the grip, is a way more involving sensation. And any times I'm frustrated, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I got a track cut or went wide there, that's down to me. It's more down to the driver now, I feel. It's more down to the driver, as again, we try and steam in here and not go too deep. Let's have a look. Yeah, this time actually just about hitting the apex there on the exit. Squirt of the throttle here. I felt like on the Logitech G Pro, we're going to do another video on Logitech G Pro, the force feedback, because is it a step forward, is it a step backwards? It's definitely a step sideways at least, but I need to spend more time working it out. And you can see the group ahead of me were fighting so much, and finally I'm actually trying to find those apexes and have some good lines here, and trying to keep the car balanced as well. Especially somewhere like here, you can really use the camber. The camber makes such a big difference as we graze the wall. And if you're on the outside line, you can just generally... Oh, look at that massive power slide. And that's what you see in these cars in real life. You see that power sliding. Let's be honest, how many times in the Gran Turismo World Series in recent years have we seen sort of power sliding? Again, let's be honest, the likes of Coque Lopez, it looks like they're all on rails, doesn't it? They're all on rails all of the time. But that's not how it is going to be under the new physics, where you really need to balance it and keep the car nice and planted. So you can see here, this is going to be a very quick lap, I believe. So getting the car brake nicely, we're going to build in the previous lap, come back in here for a late apex. There we go, open it up. And down here as well, really in that groove. Trying to get on the power. And again, trying to hit that apex, being patient in this car, getting the groove there. Again, it's taking me back to Mark 1 physics a little bit. So what I would say, actually, the critical difference between these Mark 3 physics and the Mark 1 physics, oh my goodness, coming in there absolutely sideways. But I was seeing here, the more aggressive you drive it, this is proving my point. If I'd done that on Mark 1 physics, it would have been a very digital, sort of harsh way to get the traction back. What they've done in Mark 3 physics, I've worked it out. They've enabled the transition from oversteer to traction to be way more smooth. And now they're sort of unlocking the oversteer by making the cars less planted. Because they can do it now, because they've worked out how to go from oversteer to traction. And there may well be more slip angle as well, because in the first videos, if you saw me drive these cars at Suzuka, for example, there was just no slip angle. So that's where we are now in Gran Turismo 7 physics, which is very, 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 very exciting. I'm super excited for this. And I think it's going to depend on the car basis. I think tuning is going to be huge. There's going to be lots of tuning guys coming back on the channel, because I am personally very invigorated and excited by this. This, to me, makes Gran Turismo 7 interesting again. To be honest, I felt like I sort of completed Gran Turismo. I'd reached the top of the mountain, and I was very happy with my success in Gran Turismo 7. But now we have a new layer. So Going to be doing a lot more. Let me know what you think about the physics, and I'm going to pop a few videos up here that I definitely recommend you watch. In fact, I'm going to show you one showing Mark 1 physics, and I'm going to show you me driving this car in Mark 2 physics so you can compare. Be very interesting. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.